Well, we're back at the 2016 BCA Wisconsin State Championships Scotch Doubles Day today. I'm Gennaro Vasquez. We're at the Chula Vista Resort in Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin. We have a match here between Karen Martin, teammate Bruce Wheeler, versus Rory Hendrickson and Stacy Graham. And the first break, wow, what a pretty nice break there by Mr. Wheeler. Bruce Wheeler, Karen Martin coming up to the table, and those solids are looking pretty good. If there is something that could be considered a tricky ball, I guess that would be the one ball, which is down at the foot spot of the table. And they have an opportunity right now to shoot a shot to get down for that one ball, try to get a crack at that one ball. He may very well take that right now. He's going to elect to shoot that 7 ball, and he does try to bring it out a little bit, but he leaves her a nice angle. So she'll be able to shoot the 5 ball in the corner and put just a little bit of right spin on that ball. She'll be able to maybe just a little tip or two of low, shoot the 5 ball in the corner, and float back down the table for that 1 ball. And she was able to do that successfully. It's a little bit of a funny angle here. The consideration is that the natural angle would take him into the 8 ball. So he has to do something to avoid that. So the question is what? Does he go forward with it and trying to spin it around 2 rails, or does he try to draw it? For shape on that 8 ball. And it looks like he does elect to try to pull it forward, go for the tangent line, spins it around that 8 ball, 2 rails for very nice shot on that 8 ball. And wow, talk about a very quick beginning to this first match, first game of the match. And just like that, they take the first game. That break, wow, that was a really nice break. Karen Martin and Bruce Wheeler run the first rack to take a 1-0 lead in this race to 4. They started out the set as pretty big underdogs, but as you can see, according to the FargoRate system, the percentages change from game to game, and we can estimate what each team's chance of winning that match is going to end up being. Started out a 64% chance for Hendrickson and Graham. Now it looks like Wheeler and Martin take just an ever so slight advantage, according to the FargoRate system, of pulling out this match. Rory Hendrickson is coming up now from the Fargo-Moorhead area, working to get those balls nice and tight so perhaps he can start his team off as well as Bruce Wheeler started his team off with a nice break, paying particular attention to getting the balls tight. Most of the players have been electing to break from the side, hitting the head ball. Let's see what Rory decides to do here. He went second ball break on this one, and he does pocket a ball, and the ball's spread pretty nicely. There are a couple of considerations here. First and foremost, it looks like probably stripes would be the easier of the balls to pick because there are some troubles with solids, such as the 7 ball doesn't go up the rail to where the 15 ball is, and the 4 ball doesn't go by the 10, it doesn't look like. So the question is, can they get a good shot at a stripe to start out? This is Stacy Graham. She's has a couple of options here. She may even consider playing that combination, 13 and 15 ball, in order to try to pick up stripes. We'll see. Giving it a pretty good look over here. Now, one thing that is different now than used to be last year and in previous years, Scotch Doubles partners can actually consult with each other. They have to do it away from the table, but she is going to elect to play the combination here, it looks like. And it got a little tricky on her. So Karen Martin and Bruce Wheeler come back to the table with it open, and they have an opportunity to see if they can extend their lead in this race to 4. Bruce Wheeler taking a look at several options here, thinking about angles and which ball he wants to play first. Take that 15 ball out of there right away. Just nudges the 13 a little bit, but fairly inconsequential. Well, let's see what his partner, Karen, decides to do now. She has a couple of options. They can clean up the balls down at this end of the table and try to take that 10 ball out of there. Or she can shoot the ball in the side. She can shoot that 12 in the side and to try to see if she can get shape on some of those 2 balls that are down near that 5 ball. So those balls are presenting right now, I guess, what you would consider the biggest obstacle to this run out. Karen Martin taking her time thinking about it. She's fairly straight in on the 10 ball, but it does look like she might be able to cheat a little bit as she decides to shoot it to try to get it to come back out a little bit. She's going forward with the shot, and oh, that was a really nice shape. Wow, she got him down on the 9 ball. Come around 2 rails to play shape for that 9 ball. That's going to go ahead and leave shape for the 14 on the side. That was a really nice shape shot by Karen there, leaving Bruce pretty well perfect. He does have to stun it just a little bit, but there we go. So the question now becomes, what do we do with the 11 ball? They're going to go ahead and shoot the 14 at this point. Then my guess is that they would go ahead and shoot the 13 ball. They can either try to get shape on the 12 ball to get to the 11, which is what I presume. It's not the most natural shape play to get to the 8 from there, but it should work nicely. $13 ball is going to be next. He'll probably just bring it back a little bit. So she has the option of either the 11 in the corner, or she could also, he got into that one a little bit, probably a little bit more than he'd like to. He doesn't come away looking entirely happy with the results of that shot, but it's fairly makeable. The reason why I think that he doesn't like it that much is because there is a chance that shooting this shot now, she has to consider what's going to happen as that cue ball nudges toward the 6 ball. So if she elects to shoot the 11, I should say. I do believe that probably is the right shot, simply because that would leave the cue ball up at this end of the table, leaving them a nice angle to play for the 8-ball. But that could be a little tricky with that 6-ball right there. Let's see how she decides to navigate around it. Yeah, and I think the consideration of that may have been somewhat of a factor in cutting that ball a little bit too much. Rory Hendrickson comes up now. Fairly straight in on this ball, so see, he draws it back here. Yes, he does. Draws it back, and ooh, well, he definitely, you can tell by the look on his face that he did not want the ball on that spot. He was trying to put it in the middle of the table, so his partner had a chance to look at a couple different shots, and, well, he certainly did. But he also put her right on that 8-ball. And they still have a shot at the 4. It's just a matter of that is what they would have liked to have had, as opposed to what they're going to end up having here. Nicely shot. And she left him a pretty straight shot on that 2-ball, which is nice because he can go forward with it just a little bit so that he can leave shape on the 7. Or he floats down table a little bit. Probably she will still take the 7. And she has the ability to just stop it right there so they can play the 5-ball in the corner pocket, which is what they do. And again, Rory has an opportunity pretty much where he can just play stop shot to for the 1-ball. Now, he may go forward with it some just simply to provide her a little bit of an easier natural angle as she cuts the 1-ball in order to come back up for the 8-ball. And when I say go forward, half a foot maybe. He decides to try to play a nice angle, which he did. A little bit straighter maybe than they would like, but she does. I'm guessing that she has an ability to be able to navigate this cue ball for shape to the 8. Putting some draw on it, looks like. She's going to draw this. Leaving Rory for a nice shot in the side for the 8-ball. So it looks like they're have a very good opportunity to tie this match up 1-1, and they do. And so there you have it. 1-1, this match between Rory Hendrickson and Stacey Graham versus Karen Martin and Bruce Wheeler. Bruce Wheeler comes up to the table. It looks like he's going to come up to break. That last break, wow, that was a great break. He went and busted the balls, made a couple of them, and pretty much it was plan A run out all the way on that very first rack. Well, you see the rating system has updated now. Rory Hendrickson and Stacey Graham take a 62% advantage over Karen Martin and Bruce Wheeler. It's 38% chance to win. It's tied 1-1, and it's based on their ratings. So it's a relationship based on their matches and the tournaments that they've played in and against comparable players. So that's how the FargoRate system works, where they're able to have a relationship and understand how that is. So that's how they figure out the percentages that each team from game to game have an opportunity to win. Probably the balls didn't spread quite as well as the last break, but you'd have to think he's going to be pretty happy with that break too. Just at first glance, stripes look to be pretty nice. And the reason why that is, the 9 ball's tied up. Yes, that's true. However, that 11 ball, which is a fairly nice shot into the side pocket, has a natural angle which can carry Stacy right into, Karen right into where the 6 and the 9 are, kind of bumping it out a little bit. And she did a good job of that. A little tricky there. That 4 ball almost came into play, but looks like that 9 ball still can skirt through there. So the question becomes the 13 ball. He has an opportunity to shoot the 12 now, and then after that, he can try to play shape for the 13, or he can try to leave his partner for the 15 and then have her float off the rail for the 13 ball. Does not look like it goes in that side pocket where the 8 and the 7 ball are. So that 13 ball, as you can see, Bruce is taking a little bit of time to consider exactly what he wants to do with regards to this run out, because that 13 ball is undoubtedly a little tricky. All right, so he does go ahead and decide to leave his partner the 15 ball. That's a medium difficulty shot. She has to cut it quite a ways down the rail. The good news is it's fairly natural shape, so she doesn't have to try to do much with the cue ball. She can really put a lot of her concentration on the shot itself and not have to try to manipulate the cue ball in a way to try to get shape. Still, that 9 ball, she's going to have to, she has a couple of options here. When she goes to shoot this 15 ball, so they're even going to talk about this because they want to get an angle on that 13 ball. You know, after she makes the 15, they want an angle on the 13 ball where they have two options. She can either stop the cue ball and take a tough cut on the 9, or they can try to go up table, and there's a window between the 3 and the 5 that they can pocket the 9. So that's something that I think that they're considering as well. And it looks like they have figured out their strategy. We'll hopefully find out here in a moment exactly what exactly they decided to try. She's really thinking about that angle, and I don't blame her. It's a tricky shot here. Oh, wow, that was nicely played. So she drew it back in order for him to be able to play the 9 ball into the corner. And it's still a little bit unclear whether the 13 ball passes by the 8. I'm guessing not, simply by the way that they've played this run out. So he's got to shoot around that 5 ball too. So that's going to add another little layer of complexity to this shot. Probably makes it so that he can't easily draw it. What he would love to be able to do is be able to shoot that 9 ball in the corner and kind of draw it back around that 5 ball for a nice shot in the 13 in the corner. But because that 5 ball, where it is, he's not going to really be able to get a good low draw shot on this. So he's going to probably just float it over, try to pocket this 9 and float it over for the 13. Which he does. Oh, he hit it a little harder than I think he really wanted to. And it does look like she is at least partially blocked by the 2 ball. Although she's taking a good hard look at it here. Oh, there's a better angle. Yeah, she definitely is at least partially blocked on that ball. So she can hit it, but it's a question of can she hit enough of it to pocket it. Probably it does not look from this angle, from our perspective, like she can. All right, well, a couple of options here. Probably a jump shot is one possibility. She could go down and play safe off the 13. And looks like she's going to go over and consult with her partner, Bruce. It's one of the things that's different about the Scotch Doubles this year. One of the rule changes that one of the things that's a little different this year than has been in years past, where players are able to go and consult with their partners. Now, you have to do it away from the table, so you can't go up to the table and like point, like shoot it here, bank it there, or anything like that. However, you can, away from the table, go back and consult, and that's looks like what they're taking a moment here to do. And as Karen, she's off camera, but she's over reaching into her case. Looks like she's deciding to go airborne here with the cue ball to in an attempt to try to pocket that ball. It's 1-1. We do have a score here. The 2016 BCAPL Wisconsin State Championships. I'm Gennaro Vasquez. We are at the Chula Vista Resort in Wisconsin, Dells, Wisconsin. Been pretty rainy most of the day. However, it looks like outside sunlight's starting to break through a little bit the clouds. Well, Karen Martin taking a moment here, making sure that she's well prepared for this jump shot. It's a little tricky. I mean, it's fairly straight, but even if she makes it, that cue ball, and it's tough to say what's going to happen with that cue ball. So her job number one is just to make the shot. And she definitely got it over the shot, as she pointed out. However, of course, that's going to result in a ball and hand foul. Rory Hendrickson coming in, taking a look at the situation. He's trying to decide whether he wants to shoot the 7 ball or whether he wants to shoot that 2 ball first. It's really a matter of preference. He just has to leave it in that little window if he's going to try to leave for the 2 ball next. Oh, that was a good shot. Yeah, he just nudged that 8 ball just enough to push it out of the way, so she's got a nice clean shot at the deuce. Probably going to roll forward here, take those balls out at the top of the table, take out that 1 ball, and take out that 6 ball as well. Rory, though, he's like, well, if I go forward now with this shot, I have a nice shape play for the 3 ball, which is probably as close to a trouble ball as they have right now. So he leaves her a nice shot for the 3 ball. This is a good natural angle. And those balls, the 1 and the 6 that are down at that end of the table, they're not really that bad, especially considering the fact that the 4 ball's there, so they have a relatively easy way to get shape on there. And Stacy trying to hold the cue ball for the 4 a little bit, undercut that ball. So she caught the cushion, and the Pro Cup pocket on this diamond table decided that it was going to give another opportunity to Bruce Wheeler and Karen Martin. 1-1 is the score in this round of the Scotch Doubles tournament. And Bruce going to elect to take a cross corner bank shot. And looks like he played a little long there. So Rory Hendrickson Now coming to the table, he looks confident now. He seems like he is ready to try to have an opportunity to take advantage of that miss. And he comes in and he leaves his partner. You would think this would be a pretty nice shot for the 6-ball. She has to play it around the 1 a little bit. So she has 2 options. You can kind of draw it back, or she can go forward with it. Looks like she's going to kind of come back. She did, and that 1 ball, it's a little straight. He does have some angle. It's not really the shot you'd probably want to be able to get on the 3-ball. He's going to have to spin this ball a fair amount. He's going to have to kind of force this ball a little bit, which he did, and he did it beautifully. It was a really nice shot, much harder than even he made it look. So Stacy Graham comes up. She has 2 balls standing in the way between them, taking a 1-game lead in this race to 4. Now she's just going to come over and talk to Rory and try to decide whether she should just go forward with the ball a little bit with the cue ball and try to leave him a tougher shot on the 8 in the side, or whether she should. She does have the option to try to shoot this with low and come over kind of where the 13 ball is. Let's see how the by far the safest and easiest way is just to go forward with the ball and come over where the spot is, maybe a little bit beyond that. Well, Rory does have a chance. That it's a tricky shot. But he made it look easy. So they go ahead and take a 2-1 lead and finish that rack out. And so the FargoRate system changing now. Before that game, they had a 60-some% chance. Now it looks like they become pretty big favorites. 78% chance is the estimation that they have to prevail in this match over Karen Martin and Bruce Wheeler. But Scotch Doubles is a tricky game, simply because there are a lot of factors. Players tend to have favorite shots. They tend to have favorite angles. And so when you're playing Scotch Doubles, you're never really 100% sure like exactly what your partner's going to want. Perhaps they have a preference to shoot a shot one way or another. So you have a lot of self-talk in your head where you're trying to assess not only what you would do, but what you think that your partner would like as well. And that was a good break. Except the cue ball ends up in the side pocket. Looks like it got kicked in there. So that is going to really be a nice start, you would think, for Karen Martin and Bruce Wheeler. In my eye, solids definitely are the choice here. The 4-ball is really the tricky ball, so he could shoot that first. A couple of other options. He could play the 3-ball off the 4 to kind of nudge it out a little bit. He could play the 2-ball off there, but the most straightforward would be to just shoot the 4-ball first. Which he does. And they're going to want to get that 1-ball out of there sooner rather than later, too, I would suspect. Karen Martin comes to the table, and she has a couple of options here. She could shoot the 2-ball. She could shoot the 7-ball. Hard to tell. I think she could even shoot the 1-ball, but probably the 1-ball's not. She's gonna. My guess is she'll elect for the 2-ball right now. But she's giving it some thought. It's probably a good time. This is a big rack because they're down 2-1. Every game really matters in this race to 4. She hits it very well, and there's that shape on that 1-ball I was talking about. Now they can get down there and get that out of there right away. Clear up the pocket for that 8-ball. Bruce Wheeler elects to take it around a couple of rails and leaves her dead spot on for the 5-ball, or she could even elect really to play the 7 here. My guess is the 5-ball and draw it back a little bit. She's looking at that 6-ball, but I would guess that is not what she is going to elect to shoot here. We're at Chula Vista Resort in Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin. It's the 2016 BCAPL Wisconsin State Championships. I'm Gennaro Vasquez. Thanks for joining us on this first day of action, the Scotch Doubles event. Karen Martin is going to elect to use the bridge here. It's a fairly long stretch down the table, and she wants to draw this back. So bring it back maybe a foot or so, just so that her partner, Bruce, has a nice angle to be able to hold the cue ball without having to do too much to maintain the nice angles that they have right now. And she has done so very nicely. It does look like he's going to have to go down table a little bit. We'll see what he decides to do. He could really go either way with this. Go ahead and shoot that 7-ball on the side and play for the 3, or go ahead and elect to play for the 7. Well, that was the 7, and so now his partner can shoot the 3-ball, and then they have the 6-ball still down on the corner too. She's going to go over and consult with Bruce because there's a couple of considerations here. Now, the first consideration is if she shoots the 3-ball, there's a fair amount of angle there. So she's going to have to come off the rail and then leave him for the 6, and then he'll go down to the other end of the table for the 8. The other option here is to go ahead and shoot the 6-ball first and try to get a nicer angle for the 3-ball, which would lead to natural shape for the 8. So a couple of considerations for Karen as she comes up to the table. And it does look like she's going to go ahead and shoot that 6-ball first. And boy, I'll tell you, that's a little bit of a tricky angle. He should be able to draw it back to his side of the corner of the side pocket, but there's a scratch shot there. Nicely played. So a little bit longer shot than he probably would have originally like to leave his partner, but the situation with the potential scratch in the side, he had to draw it back to the closer side of the side pocket. Really left him not a lot of options. So it was a good shot, and Karen has a nice opportunity here to tie this match up at 2. And she does, straight into the pocket. So the match is 2-2. Hendrickson and Graham had a really pronounced chance to win this match, according to the FargoRate. However, that's being updated as we speak. So let's find out what the new chance to win is going to be. 2-2 in a race to 4 in this first day of the Scotch Doubles. So as you can see, Hendrickson and Graham now still have a bit of an edge in this race to 4 over Wheeler Martin. Although Wheeler Martin are playing pretty well. They broke and ran that first rack like a hot knife through butter, and they got out on that one pretty easily too. So Hendrickson and Graham, you would have to think, are definitely not feeling completely in control here. Cue ball's headed toward the side pocket. Wow, that was his first 2 breaks were quite good, and he elected to break a little bit differently than he did the first 2. It'd be interesting to find out why he changed up his break. But this time the balls stayed really as they sometimes do. When you break the second ball, sometimes the balls kind of tend to gravitate toward one side. So that sort of seems to be what's happened here. And they're not laying that poorly, but there's some decision-making that has to take place, and Rory is taking an opportunity to go ahead and try to figure out what he would like to do here. He's trying to visualize cutting that 2 ball, I believe, and maybe trying to create some action up with that 6 ball. Oh, he's going to go ahead and shoot the 10. Okay, so he's going to shoot the 10, and now he's trying to get that 9 ball out of there and the 12 ball, which are blocked up. If he does that and these balls come out pretty good, they will be sitting very good with stripes. So it's just a matter of personal preference now. When she comes up, the 9 ball is a little tricky simply because not that the shot is overly complex, but the natural angle of shooting that 9 ball takes her into the 6 ball there. We're at the 2016 BCAPL Wisconsin State Championships. I'm Gennaro Vasquez. Chula Vista Resort and Casino. New thing this year, players are able to consult with each other away from the table. So periodically when you see them step away from the table to go ahead and converse, that is what they're doing. They're taking advantage of that. And it is believed that will help speed up play. And so far, it seems like that has worked pretty well. So this is Stacy Graham. She's coming up to the table. She has an opportunity to pocket the 9 ball. And you could hear her partner Rory say perfect, because she did end up leaving him with several options here. The 12 ball is really a little tricky still. He could shoot it now, it's just a little bit of a steep angle, and therefore would make the cue ball a little bit trickier to control. Rory Hendrickson from the Fargo Moorhead area. Looks like he's electing to he's still thinking, giving it a good deal of thought here, because playing, whether he wants to play the combo or just play the ball straight in. Looks like we're playing the combo here. And that was a good shot, though still didn't quite get shape on that 12 ball like they were looking for. He has a little smirk on his face as he walks away from the table, because he would really have loved to have gotten on the 12 ball there. Still not a major obstacle, but we're getting a little bit later in the rack here. So they do want to address that situation as soon as possible. Stacey Graham shooting the 13 ball. She's going to draw out of this a little bit, bring the cue ball back to the middle of the table. And boy, that got a little tricky on her there, didn't it? She went and bumped the ball, putting the 14 ball, putting it right next to the 8 ball. And so now the ball doesn't really go into the corner pocket, either corner pocket on that side or the side pocket. So Rory has an opportunity now to shoot this 11. He can go in and try to break out that ball right now. He can either do it one rail, or he can elect to try to come around 2 rails, where he will hit it on the short rail to the long rail and try to hit the 8 ball, or he can just try to go straight into it as well while cutting the 11 ball. He has a chance to... looks as though he's looking at going straight into it, which is probably really the highest percentage shot, simply because with the 2 balls that are right there like that, it provides a much wider area of error, much wider margin of error. And he still managed to miss it. You could hear a little bit of a sigh there, but he might have fallen so that she can pocket that ball. In fact, I believe he did. What a nice shot that was. She's just got to bring this back a little bit. Oh, and that is not going to be a good result, obviously, for them. So now, coming back to the table are going to be Karen Martin and Bruce Wheeler. It's a 2-2 and a race to 4 in the Scotch Doubles 2016 BCAPL Wisconsin State Championship. There's some definite trouble balls there, sitting those solids that are kind of down around the area of that 14 ball. You're going to have to pick those kind of judiciously here. Try to figure out the best plan to deal with those as soon as possible. You definitely don't want to wait until a couple balls down the road here. It appears as though Karen is looking at shooting the 1 ball and possibly forcing the cue ball forward a little bit to nudge that 2 ball. Actually, she's not. She's drawing it. The 2 ball may pass. It's difficult to tell from this angle, but the way she played that makes me believe that the 2 ball does, in fact, pass by the 14 ball to go in the corner pocket. Looks tight from this angle, but I'm going to defer to her judgment down on the table and believe that it must pass. So Bruce Wheeler goes and shoots a 6-ball. He's trying to leave her just right on that 5-ball, and I believe that that he has done so now. She has a good opportunity to be able to shoot that 5-ball. And if she doesn't quite like the angle on it, she could still elect to go ahead and shoot that 7-ball in the side and play it so that he can shoot the 5-ball, the shot afterward. But I'm guessing she's going to go ahead and shoot that 5-ball right now. And there we go. Karen goes ahead and shoots the 5-ball, leaving him for the shot in the side. It's really now a matter of preference as far as how they get around the table. Probably shoot this ball on the side. Just kind of come back out to the middle of the table. Which is what he elected to do. Well, they still have that 2-ball, which is a bit of a problem. Trying to get a better angle. I'll tell you, that still looks pretty tight to go in that corner pocket from what I can see. Trying to move around to get a little bit better perspective. Yeah, that's pretty tight. Pretty tight to get to that pocket. So let's see what they decide to do. It's been a good match, 2-2. Both teams taking advantage of break and run, taking advantage of some opportunities the other team has regrettably given them. But all in all, there's been some good shooting in this match, some nice shots. And Kieran is going to come over and consult with Bruce as far as exactly what he would like, what he's thinking as far as how to run this out. The shots themselves are not really entirely difficult, but what they're trying to consider is that there's not really a natural shape of way of doing this. So she could shoot the 4-ball, come back off the top rail, all the way back down to the middle of the table in order to play for the 2-ball. Or she could shoot the 3-ball, come out 2 rails, 3 rails for those balls. But there's not a natural angle necessarily that would lead them to the perfect position. And this is a big point. I mean, it's a 2-2. This is a turning point in the match. If they get out here, they go on the hill. So they're taking a moment to heavily consider this. And it's this, no doubt, this is a big moment in the match. Still feeling a little uneasy about it is Karen. And she's flirting with that side pocket. I think that little dance right at the very end is what made the big difference there. So now they're still sitting in a way that they don't have a natural way to get shape. He can definitely make the 4-ball on the side. That's not the issue. But he's got to come all the way off the top rail and then leave her for the 2-ball, which, again, from this perspective, looks like it's pretty tight going down to that corner pocket. So let's see what they elect to do. Definitely going to shoot the 4 ball. There's no doubt about that. He'll come off the top rail and back to the middle of the table in order for her to be able to try the 2 ball. And little shaking of the head there. I think he didn't really want to leave her on the rail. That it's just already kind of a tight shot, and shooting off the rail just adds just even a little bit more kind of a degree of complexity to it. But they've been playing this rack the entire time as if the 2 ball passes by to go to that corner pocket. So I guess we are going to find out. But I'll tell you what, I think this could be the shot of the match right here. This is a big shot because it's 2-2. They have an opportunity to go up 3-2 by running this rack out, or potentially they turn the table back over to Hendrickson and Graham, and with a great chance for them to go up 3-2. This is a difficult shot too. The 2 ball barely skating by, getting to the corner pocket, that's a tough enough shot. But the lead for the 8 ball, that's another, it's not a natural shape shot. So let's see what happens. There she goes, Karen Martin. Nicely played. Wow, that was a good shot. She was I really can't imagine that shot could have been played any better than that. She got it by, she cheated the pocket a little bit, but she also came back across the table, straight in shot for her partner, and wow, she really came with a nice shot there. So they do take the lead, 3-2. Hendrickson and Graham had a slight advantage according to the FargoRate system going into as an opportunity to win that match. However, we're updating that tally right now. This is the winner's bracket of the 2016 BCAPL Wisconsin State Championships. It is Rory Hendrickson and Stacy Graham taking on Karen Martin and Bruce Wheeler. And you see that Wheeler and Martin now have taken on almost a 2-1 advantage in the estimation of FargoRate of winning this match. Rory Hendrickson coming up, though. Rory, very strong player coming out of the Fargo Moorhead area, playing out of Fargo Billiards. Now, last time he elected to shoot the 2nd ball. Let's see if he changes that up a little bit. Yep, he stayed with that 2nd ball break, and wow, what a nice break. The really only trouble ball here, it looks like it's going to be that 11-4. Well, I'll tell you, it's a gutsy shot, but the shot I think is the right shot here is to go ahead and play that 6 ball down into the top corner and try to break out that 4 ball. This is a big shot. The next big shot of the match, I should say. Stacy Graham. Oh, she comes with a big shot, too. Wow, that was a nice shot. She had to force that ball in order to try to break out that 11-4, and she did it. She made it look pretty easy. So now Rory comes up. Probably the most natural run out from here is going to be 2-5. Then we go to the 7 ball, 4 ball. I see. Okay, so what he's left her the shot for the side, the 7 in the side. I'm guessing here is what he would like her to shoot, so that she can leave him for the 4 ball. But she's going to go over and talk with him about it. The last thing they probably want to do in this situation is let Wheeler Martin get back to the table. This is an opportunity that they have to make it go hill. And saw the lights flash here at Chula Vista Resort a little bit. So there was some lightning last night, but none today. Just a lot of electricity in the air, though, as we're just getting this 2016 BCAPL Wisconsin State Championships underway. Scotch Doubles Day. It's what a beautiful place to have a pool tournament. It's surrounded in wooded area. There's the lake right that runs right through here. Here's the shot. Oh, and she definitely wanted to draw that ball, but she went forward with it, and so that puts Rory in a very difficult position here. He has an opportunity to 4 ball at this moment is pretty much out. He's going to have to try to figure out something to do with that 5 ball. And I'm guessing he's going to cut it. And that is no one's favorite shot. But Rory is a very strong shooter. So if that's the right shot, that is definitely what he's going to shoot. It looks like he's maybe thinking cross bank. Cut it, reverse cut it, so that come back across where into the side. Giving this a little bit of thought, because this is again the next big shot of this match. They don't want to let Wheeler Martin get back to the table. I think he's back cutting this ball to come back cross side. Yep, that is the shot that he was trying, and he just overplayed it just a little bit. And Wheeler and Martin do come back to the table, but not that 11 ball is still going to present a bit of a challenge for them. There's not really a ball in the area that would be considered like a natural breakout shot, so we'll see what they elect to do. Well, he does have an opportunity right here to shoot the 14 ball possibly and draw it back into the 11 or the 4. Wow, that was a good shot. Didn't get any breakout, but he hit that shot with authority. There's no doubt about that. The 11 ball still remains sort of the big question mark as far as what are they going to do in order to get on that ball. The 9 ball also, it can be played in the corner or the side, but it's still that's a little tricky as well. You know, I would not be entirely surprised if they try to find some kind of safety here. A couple of ways that they could do it. She could go down, leave the cue ball down at the other end of the table, down near the foot spot behind where the 8 ball and the 10 ball are. A couple of ways to get down there for that. There's a little bit of a riskier way where she could play the cue ball off of the 15 ball, try to hide it behind the 12. The only reason why that's riskier is because she has a chance of selling out the 5 ball there. If I had to make a guess, I'm guessing she's going to play a safety here. Leave the cue ball down where that 10 ball kind of down on the far end of the table. But we'll see. As of this moment, it does look like they're going for the gusto. She is not looking down table like she's going to shoot that safety at all. This is Karen Martin, her partner Bruce Wheeler. They're taking on Rory Hendrickson and Stacy Graham. She's going to force this ball forward and try to leave an angle for her partner to be able to play this 15 ball. And let's see if he goes for a breakout here. They still have an opportunity to play that same safety later on in the rack. Maybe they're just trying to clear out some of the trouble balls first. We'll see here. I think he's trying to bring this ball out from off of this. He was. Oh, and he missed it. But now they have a really good opportunity for a safety. She can hit that 10 ball. She can freeze it right behind that 8 ball. It does two things. First of all, it would leave them pretty much nothing short of a kick shot. And the other good thing is it would leave the 10 ball down in that corner pocket, providing a possible breakout shot. Scotch Doubles Day here at the Wisconsin State Championships. This is the winner side. Rory Hendrickson and Stacy Graham taking on Karen Martin and Bruce Wheeler. Wheeler and Martin have a 3-2 lead. They are at the table. They do have a very difficult ball at the moment to try to deal with, which is the 11 ball. And she decides to pocket the ball. So we'll leaving him, Bruce, the potentially the 9 ball in the side, or even he might elect to take the 13 ball. As of this moment, there is no natural breakout shot for that 11 ball. So every ball they make at this point is almost like making it tougher for them to get on that 11 ball. Think of it almost like basketball. Every time your team makes a shot, that player runs off the floor. So when you get down to the final player, it's 1 against 5. So it makes it a little bit tougher. So Bruce is still thinking about what he wants to do here, and I wouldn't be surprised if at this point he elects to go ahead and play the safety that has been pretty much sitting there for several shots. But we're kind of getting to the point now where a run out just seems less likely, in my opinion. And they're talking it over. That's something new that's the CSI rules have allowed this year, and BCAPL, where Scotch Doubles partners can consult with each other. They're off camera right now, but they are talking about what they want to do and how they want to play it. It's something that was never allowed before as a part of the rules, but they've decided that they're going to go ahead and allow that now. Bruce is going to take a shot at the bank. They're going for it. They are going for this win, and did not quite work out, I'm sure, as he would have liked. But Stacy Graham comes up to the table. Rory Hendrickson, her partner, they have a chance to tie this match up at 3 apiece and make it go hill-hill. She's going to probably go into the 8 ball a little bit here after she shoots as 5. But that didn't affect things too much. The important piece there was not to leave her partner shooting over the 8 ball. That would have just unnecessarily have complicated the shot. Rory coming around 2 rails for that nice straight-in shot on the 8 ball. And for all intents purposes, it looks like we are going to go hill-hill here on this winner's side match. And indeed we do. Hill now between Hendrickson and Graham and Wheeler Martin. This is a pretty big match because the winner of this match advances in the winner's bracket. And we're getting ever so much closer to the driver's seat. Both these teams are playing already at a high level and have advanced pretty far into this tournament. So every single win puts them one notch closer to taking first place. So we've seen Bruce Wheeler break a couple of times here. The first break was phenomenal. He separated the balls, left the cue ball in the middle of the table. The second break, even though the balls didn't scatter as much, it was still a good break. The third break, he was displeased with it. He changed it up a little bit, tried a second ball break from the other side of the table, and that one didn't work out quite as well. So let's see what he opts to do here. This is a huge break. I'm sure he and his partner would love nothing more than to not even let Rory and Stacy get back to the table. He is going to go second ball break again. And the 10 ball finds its way into the hole. An interesting predicament here because I believe that they would really love to be solids on this table. However, there is not a great shot at a solid, and the most obvious shot here would be to use the 5 ball to pocket the 9, but thereby taking stripes. The reason why this is such a tricky layout is because you have that ball right by the side, and they probably could use the 13 ball, play the 13 ball off there in order to get that ball out of there, but that 12 ball looking like it could be a little bit of a tricky situation, especially considering the 11 ball's tied up as well. And she goes ahead and calls the 9 ball. Going to play this combination and go ahead and elect to take stripes. They're going to want to deal with that 12 ball situation at the 12 and the 11 pretty much as soon as possible. She left her partner a nice shot here for the 15 ball. The angle to make that 12 ball and also break out the 11, nudge out that 12 ball, it's going to be very important. So he's going to take a good look at this and try to figure out. He's got about half a pocket for this ball. The 5 ball is blocking at least a little bit of the pocket. Oh, and he tried to force the ball in just a little bit because he had half the pocket, and the pro cut pocket was not going to have that. So Rory Hendrickson and Stacy Graham come back to the table. Hill match. They have, according to the FargoRate system, just an ever so slight advantage, 56% to 44%. Let's see how it plays out on the table. So the tricky ball to get shape on right now for Hendrickson and Graham is going to be that 3 ball. No doubt about it. It looks like if they get just right off the one ball that they can cut it in the side, but it's going to be a situation where, well, if he moves that 8-ball, ooh, that is... I'll tell you what, that's going to be tight. He may have an opportunity to play that 3-ball in the side, either off the 12 or straight in, but probably not. She's not even looking at it. So I'm guessing that means that from her perspective, that's not a good possibility. Playing the 2-ball here. So Stacy does her job. Scotch Doubles is such a tricky game to play because you have so many voices in your head. You have your voices that are telling you, play the shot this way. Well, do you want to leave it this angle, that angle? But not only that, on top of that, you are also considering what your partner has preferences and abilities and certain qualities about their game that you have to consider as well. Rory going for the big shot there, and he hits that really well. So he cut the ball in, gets the breakout shot, and that was definitely we're going for it moment, and they did. These says we're going to go for this win, and so now they really have an opportunity here to take this match. Hill. Stacy hits that ball, floated on her a little bit. So now Rory's going to have to make a decision. Does he cut the 3-ball? Does he leave the 3-ball and maybe elects to shoot the 6 instead? 3-ball's a thin cut, and that's going to send the cue ball loose a little bit. It would definitely go into that 14-ball if he cuts this. 14-ball would hold it, but it's a matter of, does he go for the harder shot or kind of the more sure cue ball shape? It's a negotiation in his mind of, do I cut this ball and turn the cue ball loose a little more than I'd like to, or do I go ahead and take the little bit harder shot, but more predictable cue ball control? Rory Hendrickson from the Fargo-Moorhead area. Taking a really nice amount of time to consider this shot, because the 3-ball can be cut in a number of ways in order to be pocketed. So is he going to really thin cut it? Is he going to cut it a little thicker? All things that he's taking into consideration. And you hear a bit of a sigh from him as he didn't quite cut it as much as he needed to, and so therefore Wheeler Martin come back to the table. It's a situation here where they have 2 balls that are really not in the best of shape. And so here we go. We're really considering this. Karen Martin is coming up to the table here, and she's trying to consider some possibilities here. There is a shot that would solve many of their problems all in one. She could shoot the 13 ball, playing it off the 12, and at the same time go down into the 14 ball down there, breaking it out. 15 ball, I should say. Interesting. So what she's decided to do is she's going to leave Bruce a shot here that is going to, where essentially he has to cut that ball over to the other corner. And this is going to test him. There's no doubt about it. This is not an easy shot, and it's a big one. The match is hill. He overcuts it a little bit, and the cue ball is, well, at least some consolation there where he didn't scratch the cue ball. However, there is a pretty nice starter shot for Hendrickson and Graham. They're taking a moment to consider which angle and shape play off of the 3 ball that they're looking at. The highest percentage shot here. Probably just going to pocket it and float forward, I'm guessing. Which is exactly what she did. You know, this is it's a little off angle, but Rory not entirely loving it, but looks like he's electing to cut it into the corner. Well, he cuts it in the side and holds it, just using a lot of drag on that shot to drag it off the top rail, cut it into the side, and here's the 8-ball shot for a win. And there it is. Stacey Graham making the 8-ball, and what a match. Boy, that one was neck and neck. Both teams opportunities to pull it out. In the end, Hendrickson and Graham came out on top, and they take that match 4-3, so they stay on the winner's side. Wheeler